What's up guys, Twichy here and welcome to Twichy's Kitchen. Today we're going to be going over the Thai Cashew Chicken recipe that we did live on Twitch about a week and a half ago. I'm going to leave the recipe in the description down below. It'll have all the weights, measures, and methods that it takes to make this. And without any further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to start off getting our chicken marinated. That's something that's going to take 20 minutes to overnight. I'm just doing it for 20 minutes. I've never actually marinated it overnight. Honestly, it still comes out really good. But since it's one of the longest things involved with this recipe, it's better off to get it marinated ahead of time. That way you can just get into your vegetable prep while your chicken's marinating, and then you can make your sauce after that's done and just kind of keep the ball rolling, if you know what I mean. So we're going to drain off our chicken. I just like to take my chicken thighs and put them on a little paper towel just to drain off the extra liquid, get them in the bowl, and then go in with our soy sauce, Shaoxing Wine, oyster sauce, sesame oil, salt, ground black pepper, and cornstarch. All of the measurements are in the description below, so if you guys want them, they're there. And then you give that a really nice quick stir, set it aside for at least 20 minutes, and then you can just start working on the next piece of the recipe. Now that the chicken's marinated, we would go ahead and do our vegetable prep. I had all of this done ahead of time for this stream, so I'm sorry, you're not going to get any like vegetable cutting or anything. But what you need is 2 large shallots, large diced, 2 stalks of celery, large diced, 1/2 each of a red and a green pepper, large diced, and some scallions cut into about 1.5 inch pieces. You also notice that I have a cup of cashews prepared off to the side here. That's just so that when we get working on the stir fry, everything's done and ready, and we can just get into the cooking process. Now we're going to set all of that aside and start working on the sauce. All right, now that we have our vegetable prep and our chicken marinated, we're going to work on the sauce. And in the sauce, we're going to put dark soy sauce, light soy sauce, oyster sauce, fish sauce, honey, Thai red chili paste, toasted sesame oil, and ground black pepper. Now, you could put white pepper in if you have white pepper, but we don't have any in the house, so ground black pepper is what we're dealing with. And also you'll notice in the recipe it says salt to taste. By all means, any of these stages, salt to taste whenever you feel like you need it. We've just never really needed it. The soy sauces normally have enough salt for us to do what we need to do. So we're going to give that a good stir with a whisk, and we're going to set it aside as we get ready to do our actual stir fry. Now, one last thing we're going to do before we get the stir fry started is we're going to go ahead and get our garlic and ginger and chili flakes, and we're going to go ahead and measure that all out, put it in a little bowl, and also set it off to the side. Once we get started on the stove, we're going to be good to go. Now that we have all of our prep ready to go, we got our pan on. You can use a pan or you can use a wok. I'm actually using both in this video. I find that sometimes my wok isn't as seasoned as it really should be, and it sticks on me a little bit here and there. So I have a nice little nonstick pan that I'm going to actually do the chicken in. So we have the pan on, it's got oil in it, it's on high heat, it's ready to go. And once it is all the way up to temperature, and I mean almost smoking hot, we're going to put the chicken in. Now we're going to stir that chicken around, make sure it's flat on the bottom of the pan. We don't want any like a large amount of overlap or anything like that. We're going to kind of let it settle. We're not going to salt and pepper this time because the marinade has salt and pepper in it. And then we are going to go ahead and let that brown nicely on one side. Once it's got a nice brown on the first side, we're going to flip it around, kind of give it a toss, try to get all of the raw pieces of chicken facing down on that pan, and we're going to let it cook for another couple of minutes to get that side nice and brown as well. And once the chicken is nicely browned all over, we're going to pull it off the heat. We're going to put the chicken out on a plate and let it sit off to the side until we're ready for it during the stir fry process. Now you'll notice there's a lot of oil in this pan left. So what I'm doing with this oil that's left over from the pan, I'm not getting rid of any of the flavors. I'm just putting this oil directly into the wok and bringing it back up to temperature. If you did this chicken step in the wok to begin with, you should have plenty of oil in the bottom of your wok for your stir fry. If you don't, you can always add more and bring everything back up to temperature. But in this case, I am using the wok now, and I do want it to get hot almost to the smoking point or right at the smoking point again. Once the wok is good and hot, I'm adding in the shallots and the scallions, and we're going to give those a quick stir fry. We're just basically looking to get the shallots starting to sweat, just starting to release their liquids a little bit. And we're going to get a little bit of color on these, but we're not actually looking to get caramelization or anything like that at this point. Once that's done, we're going to add in the celery, and it's the same basic thing. We're going to stir fry it a little bit, stir it around the pan. We're just basically trying to let those pieces of celery come up to temperature, start to sweat a little bit, and just, you know, get a little bit soft. But we're not, we want some crunch in our stir fry, so we're not going too crazy far. And once we get through that, we're going to add in our diced peppers. Now we want these peppers to still be crisp as well, so we're not cooking these terribly long. We're going to put them in, we're going to let them do a thing, come up to temperature, and once they get good and hot, we're going to go in with our ginger, garlic, and chilies. Now you guys might notice the recipe says about dried chilies and has a substitute of chili flakes. We ran out of the arbol chilies we would normally use in this, so we're using pepper flakes today. It's still just as good, just as tasty, but I will give you one small piece of warning. When that pan is hot and almost smoking hot, you add that chili pepper in it. Just don't stick your face down in it, okay? It's gonna burn. It's gonna burn. Take it from experience. Now, once that's all taken care of, we're basically just leaving this garlic and ginger mixture come up to temperature, start to release its aromas very nicely. This is going to smell insanely good in your house. As soon as you start stirring in that garlic and ginger, the smell is just intense. So we're going to go ahead, once we get that aroma really kicking, we're going to go ahead and throw our 1 cup of cashews in there and give it a stir. We're basically using roasted cashews here. You could get raw cashews and roast them yourself if you want, but we just get the non-salted roasted cashews for this, and it works just fine. Now, once the cashews have a little bit of a chance to get some temperature to them, we're going to come in with the sauce. And here's a little trick with the wok, and they do this in the Chinese restaurants as well. When you put some sauces and things like that in your wok and it's really hot and you're worried about it kind of maybe wanting to scorch a little bit, you can just add a touch of water to your wok and it just calms everything down. It helps deglaze things a little bit, helps calm down the pan, and then you can just let your sauce reduce as you would like. Once your sauce is all up to temperature, boiling nice, you can throw your chicken back in, and now we're just going to toss it and stir it and make sure nothing's sticking as the chicken gets to the point of being fully cooked inside of the wok itself. Once that's taken care of, you can set it off to the side and start getting ready to plate. Since we're cooking this for a lunch later on in the week, I'm going to use these little glass lunch containers that I love so much, and I'm going to put a half a cup of jasmine rice in the bottom of each. Then I'm going to push that jasmine rice all the way over to one side. Now, the reason I do this, a lot of people kind of look at me a little bit crazy for doing this, but the reason I do this is because it basically gives you a little bit of a separation between your stir fry and your rice. So if I were just to spread that half a cup all the way at the bottom and put the stir fry on top of it, then all of that rice would be soaked in the sauce over time. I want that little bit of separation, right? I want to be able to mix my rice in and not have it sit in that sauce constantly. So that's why we do that. It's just basically to keep that separation of rice and stir fry. We do have some dishes that have like a little divider in them and stuff, but honestly, when you're eating something like this, that just is a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. Once we get that rice all pushed over to one side, we're going to come in with our stir fry. We're going to put it in the empty spots of each container. Since we had scallions in this dish that only use the white parts of the scallions, we're going to have the leftover green tops, and we just cut those up for a little bit of garnish, put some garnish on top of it, and there you go. You have Thai Cashew Chicken for later on in the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This one I feel went a little bit smoother for me, so you'll have to let me know in the comments if there's anything that you feel is lacking or could use a little bit more help. I know that the video is a little bit limited on this since these were from live streams, but we are going to eventually get into full-blown real recipe videos down the line. If you guys want to check out any of the live Twitch stuff, of course, you can follow me on Twitch. And if you'd like to see any of the upcoming recipes, by all means, subscribe on YouTube if you so desire. I really hate doing the plugs. But anywho, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for staying to the end of the video, and I really hope to see you on the next one.